Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Weird Science DC Absolute Show. I'm here with my man, Gray, who he was muted, but now you're unmuted. You're ready to go, but now I think the toast is on. Is what I hear. Hello, hello, Love. Gray's wife is not feeling well, so we all want to, send out some cool vibes. Not the vibes like in this Martian Manhunter, but cool vibes. So she is not feeling well. And Gray, I talked to him earlier, was drunk. But now you are awake, you're sober, at least a little more sober.
She's giving me the evil eye, Jim. She's like, do you remember what you did last night? You did a drunken live stream.
She was yelling at you.
All over the place.
She was yelling at you and telling you were drunk and you had to stop it. I said that you don't get sick because you're pickled. But here we are, pickled pink is what you are. But we're here for the absolute stuff. If you are not aware, we do this live every Friday that there are absolute books. We do it at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And and we have the live chat going on, and we're going to talk to people while we go through this podcast here. And if you want to get more, including written reviews for some of these books, including 2 reviews, it seems, for Martian Manhunter, because Gabe told you he was not going to review it. Then while you were writing up a review, he reviewed it. So I told you just to put it up anyway. And so you're going to have a second opinion. Also, make sure that you check the show notes, the description of this video, because you can go to Gray's channel and see a video with him talking a little bit by himself about it as well. So I think that that is something that will be going on, I think. Did you do that? Did you
the problem
do the
is,
video?
Jim, I've not even made it yet because I went out drinking last night. I forgot it was a beer festival. It's a local beer festival.
A beer festival. Is that what you call it now? That's what you call it every time you go. Your wife's like, why is there festivals all the time? We do not need that. You don't need that nonsense. But here we are, and we have 2 books. Obviously, we have the Absolute Martian Manhunter, which we'll start with, and then Absolute Wonder Woman. And Absolute Martian Manhunter, if you've been listening to our show, I'm not a big fan. I know that you're not a huge fan either. It's a weird play because when we're done here, and we may actually have like a bonus live stream tonight. You mentioned it earlier today. You were drunk, though, but we'll see. The idea that me and you are going to get back to doing Cy Spurrier's Flash on the regular podcast.
What was I thinking?
I don't know. I really don't. I think you might have been drunk then as well. But it may be a little bit too much wackiness, but is it wacky? It's like pseudo wackiness. It ends up being the wackiness that feels like these writers are trying to harken back to maybe better writers, and I just don't get it. And I will tell you, here's the weird thing about this Absolute Martian Manhunter. First off, is there a credits page? Because as the song was going, when you did the review, did you find a credits page? Because I see.
It's the last
that
page.
last deal. It's mixed in with the stuff.
It's all in smoke, for goodness sake. Everything's up in smoke. Just ask Cheech and Chong.
Yes, it is. I'd rather ask them. But when we go through this, and now I see it here, I'll give you the credits. But when we go through it, this is going to be one of those books, and it's one of those things that people will tend to rip into a reviewer. The idea where if I loved it, if I thought it was a 10 out of 10, nobody would say, hey, Jim, you think it's great. You shouldn't review it anymore. Like the idea that I have the same review each time, not loving it. But if you don't like it, they start going like, why are you even reviewing it? Like you're saying the same thing. And I think that that's going to be maybe a bit of the case here because, again, I don't like the art, and if you don't like the art on this, I think you're kind of done.
Really?
I don't like it at all. It's not a style that I like.
About this book.
Here's the thing. People will go on and on about this art. And, oh, my God, it's so great. I swear to God, it's one freaking baby step away from Riley Rossimo art, which I can't stand either. But if he was going to do a book, he would end up doing pretty good on this book. His art style would fit this jumble of mess. And so when I go through this
here, variant covers recently.
Yeah, well, there you go. Variant this.
Rossimo.
So, again, my whole play here is to just tell people, please realize that I do not like the art one bit. And so if I don't like the art, what do I have left? What I have left is Dennis Camp and his I'm high as shit, and I'm just going to write whatever I write. I'm telling you, he's sitting there getting high going, oh, it's the smoke that gets you. I'm like, okay, I get it there. Just stop it.
It's the smoke.
Yeah, exactly. So if all of this doesn't make sense to you, I'll also say that if you love this and say the art's great, I wouldn't argue with you. that it's very subjective. I mean, art is very, very subjective, and I just don't like it. And the book itself it seems to be going the route of, okay, we're going to have 6 issues to start with. It did get extended, but this first 6 that we kind of start with, we're going to be ambiguous on purpose. The mystery is just not getting info, and I hate stories like that. I don't like stories that are based on lack of info, and that's what it seems to be. But we'll get into this. We'll get through this quick. People are going to get so annoyed with me. Now, I'll also tell you.
You can't wait.
I'll also tell everybody, too, the idea where if I end up like what happened in the Ultimate books over at Marvel, if somehow I say, listen, or somebody does convince me, listen, Jim, you don't like the book, don't review it. If I drop this, I probably drop Green Lantern. And then I start dropping everyone, and then you don't have a podcast. This is what happens. It feels like you have to review every one of them, whether you like it or not. And without doing all of them, it feels like it's...
Will you drop your pants?
Oh, I don't even have pants on right now, so there's nothing to drop. But here it is. It is absolute...
I knew it.
It's Absolute Martian Manhunter number 3, written by Dennis Camp, art by Javier Rodriguez, letters by Hassan Outsme Al-Hal. And I'm looking here.
What are you talking about?
I'm using a magnifying glass to even read this stuff. It's driving me insane is what it is. And then I'm looking for the editors. And then I see, okay, editor, you got associate editor Sabrina Futch and editor Katie.
No, it was editor was. Yeah.
Yeah, really. I think that Sabrina Futch, like, she's the editor as they give her the script and like, what is it about this time? She's like, I have no idea. And just pass it along. And I do think that's like, this is the storytelling by... ambiguity. It's storytelling by not really giving info. And like I said, I'm not the real big fan of that. And without the art, I think that I'm missing out on a bunch of what people do like. And again, they do say, a lot of people say, listen, this book, you can't get it anywhere else. Thank God. Thank God I can't get it anywhere else. I saw the reviews, but again,
it's unbelievable. Apparently, this is like 20 out of 10 every time.
I see a lot of things going on. Now, Brandon says, Jim, Martian Manhunter sucks, but you review the books for the spotlight, and 99% of those books are instant drop, Plague on Comics. This is the thing, though. Those aren't picked by me. Those are picked by other people. And in fact, the idea of what we have now, if me and Eric were still doing the podcast together, a lot of these books we wouldn't be doing. We may have even, I don't think we would have dropped this one, but the idea of books and whatnot now, though, is say I end up dropping, like Flash, me and you are going to do it together. I'm not doing it because I want to do Flash. I like talking to you. So I want to do it with you. If I end up dropping, say, Fire and Ice, well, kind of. I end up, though, like some of the times when I do some of these things, it ends up being the idea, if I drop Fire and Ice, that's one less thing that I get to talk to Simon about. Or if I drop, I'm trying to think of some other books that I don't quite like. The other problem is, too, is the main continuity to me is a little more important than this, but I am liking the Absolute stuff. And I really, really like Wonder Woman a lot. I really like Batman. It's just this one's not hitting for me. And I just like, yeah, it's just, I don't know, but we'll get into it. And again, it's hard to talk about.
Let's do it, Jim.
It's hard to talk about. You end up where in this one, there's 24 people who've burned 24 other people, homeless people, babies, kids, women, and this whole thing deals with the smoke and deals with the fire. And I did have somebody say that they really like this. It was in the Slack. They like it because of the like, you don't have Martian Manhunter screaming and yelling his shit in his pants every time there's fire. I mean, and one of the funny things is a lot of times when writers write Martian Manhunter, they go with the idea of, oh my God, that's his weakness. Well, that's my weakness too. You catch me on fire, I'm yelling and screaming and I'm dying. I'm an organic deal.
The crazy
just like
world of Arthur Brown.
Yes, exactly. Fire. Jimmy Page, I think, ended up buying Arthur Brown's like mansion. The guy had a mansion because of that one song. It's crazy. But you end up where all that, really what Martian Manhunter and the Fire is that, you know, he watched everybody burn, including his family. So it's more of a flashback thing. It's more of a trigger and all that. And that's what I think is going on here. The idea that the White Martian seems to be making people burn each other and whatnot, I do think it's trying to draw out John and this Martian.
About the White Martian, Jim. When I was reading this issue, I was like, Who?
Well,
when? Where?
I
Where
didn't
did the White Martian come into things?
When it comes to Martians, I'm colorblind. I'm not a hateful guy. So when you end up where this is going on, and as these people die, you do get that smoke going. It all deals with the smoke. But really, when you get down to the nitty gritty, when you actually have to talk out loud about this book, I think this book is one of those books too that it's very frustrating to try to review out loud. A lot of the stuff that you do as you're reading and thinking to yourself, "Oh man, that's cool. Oh man, that's neat." But when you actually have to say it out loud, you realize not a lot going on because they're there.
Again,
and
it's the art for me, Jim. I really like the art. I like Javier, Rodriguez, can't even say his name, Rodriguez's style.
Now,
but it's a dark opening to this issue, don't you
think?
It
is. And again, though, because of the art, it's more visual, right? You're saying you like it as a visual thing. That's hard to express on a podcast a lot of times. And maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just frustrated because then we're like, and then you get the Martian, he's got a moth on him, and then he's doing this. And all of it is that they're at this crime scene trying to figure it out. And this one guy, and it seems as if he's like Dennis Camp, I think, is very scattered with his ideas. You end up having the idea of home, but not home. You end up where the heart is, and the Martian doesn't seem to have one. So then he's kind of triggered by that, but we don't know. And everybody is not realizing and suddenly getting this idea they have to burn people. But there is that mention of like homeless people, but then when they find a place to go, that's burned down. And again, is it that the White Martian is trying to, I'd say, quote unquote, smoke out the Green Martian here or whatnot? But in the meantime, I don't know that I really trust the Green Martian that much either. But when you end up having...
Jim, I want to know, what do you think of the detective? Is it Mayweather or Hayweather or whatever he's called?
That guy...
Look at his face. He looks so pissed off. He's like, what am I doing here?
Also, he's got that stupid jacket.
What's happened to my life?
Look at that stupid jacket. It looks like he's like heading to the club. He doesn't like this stuff. It's a little too much for him. And
he
that's
hates
where,
his life, doesn't he? Because he's in this book.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, why do I have to be in this? But John's there and like, hey, you should maybe think about changing jobs. And that is kind of like, you even have him in his mind, F you. And you end up, yeah, exactly. But again, it might not be for him. But we kind of just like from there, we just kind of move on. And you end up where they're talking about Big Al. Hey, Big Al, this. And finally, he's like, who's this guy, a friend of yours? He's like, oh, no, it's, just this guy here, a partner. And I'm trying to figure all these. It just ends up where I'm telling you, I can't get a thumb on just the story itself, because then they're going to interrogate some of the people who ended up starting the fire, or fires burnt people, and they're like, I don't know, I just figured I'd start burning people. I just had this
We didn't start the fire, Jim, did we?
Yeah, exactly. Billy Joel's like, don't put me on
the
this.
Longest song ever.
He's like, really? He's like, I don't need to get this shit involved. But yeah, so the whole thing that John says is the big play here is that everybody has this smoke, this cloud around their head. It is really
John
playing.
Can see it.
Yeah, and it's really playing. And so he can't end up putting it on a report. But really, since we started, really this whole book is like everybody blowing up and it's just dismal. I mean, it really is a dark book, like you said, but I just at the end, I just don't get that we're getting much story each issue, because then he goes...
That's it. That was my main problem with it, Jim. There's very, very little story. It's like, okay, there are people being controlled to burn people and buildings, and then Jones tries to stop them. That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah, and Brandon said here in this book, explained, is the first time I'm even understanding it. I don't know how you got a plot out of the comic without copious notes. Notes! I wish I had notes. I had notes. We don't need no stinking notes. We're going through. It's really.
What's that from?
We don't need no stinking notes. It is really frustrating. Like I said, the whole play of it. But as you jump into this, he goes home, and and again, remember, the whole idea seems that the White Martian is kind of centered on this idea of home. So he goes, and even when he gets out of his car, he's like, I have to fight an intergalactic alien apocalypse to get into my house. I'm like, I don't even see what's going on there. I mean, it looks like a bunch of people with smiley masks, maybe, and you got a rabbit. I don't know, but what is it? And so when he goes in and sees through this, he ends up asking, what's going on with this White Martian? And this is where we kind of need some info. He says, I get what's going to happen. You've made it very clear. What I don't get, what you don't explain, is why. Why does this white Martian want to destroy anything? What did we
Yeah,
do to
what-
it? So there
does
you
he
go.
want?
You're
What's-
really
what's it all
setting
about,
up
Jim?
like, I'm like, finally, we're going to get some we don't get information. He goes,
You know what you get? You know what you get? You get Dennis Count trying to beat Grant Morrison.
yeah, and this is where this is the
stupid
thing.
nonsense
The
lines.
nonsense lines. This is what gets me, and this is what infuriates me. If you're gonna write, it says it comes from somewhere so far away it doesn't make sense to speak in terms of distance. You're not saying shit. You're just trying to be fancy about saying that he said nothing. I mean, it says it comes from far away. But distance doesn't make any difference, so it doesn't, but it does. I'm like, okay, you just did nothing. And then
My favorite part was before he gets home, he's in the car with the Martian, and they're like, the Martian's going, gaudy, gorgeous funeral march, Jim.
Yeah.
Didn't that make this issue for you? That was the moment.
It did. I actually thought, boy, I love it. I'm telling you,
I felt like I was rereading old Doom Patrol issue. I was looking for the Scissor Man and Mr. Nobody.
This whole thing, though, is like, I'll give you my main thing. I think Dennis Camp sucks. I think he's a horrible writer. If you disagree, that is your prerogative, just like Bobby Brown. That's fine. But when I read it, I cannot trust this asshole to spin it around and make me think that it's ever going to get good, because I've not seen anything he's done that's good. You might have, I haven't. I think that he is nonsense, and this feels like when he ended up saying about the Ultimates book and all that bullshit over at Marvel, where he says, it's great. I don't even have any editors looking at anything. I think they're doing it here as well. They're like, oh, let him cook. I don't know what he's cooking. I don't want to eat it. I'm done. And so he's there, and the idea, it says it comes from somewhere so far away it doesn't make sense to speak in terms of distance. You just said nothing. And then finally he says,
cooking hash browns,
yes,
Jim.
yeah,
hash
really.
brownies.
He's cooking, I don't know, allegedly.
I'll have one, please.
Yeah.
Philharmonic, say one over here.
So he says, the white Martian has decided on tragedy. I can make it no clearer. Really? I guess that's as clear as it's going to get. That, oh, you mean that he's making people set each other on fire? Oh, yeah, I get that he's kind of bad. I get that he wants tragedy. But this is where you can maybe give somebody like me a little helping hand, because I just want something to go with out of this to say, okay, I'm centering on that. So you end up where you even have the house.
I like it when they're in the house and you got the Martian Manhunter sat in between them on the sofa, Jim. I think it's my favourite panel.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's the cuck
Look how
scene.
chilled he looks.
He is chilled. It looks like he's there getting high, like Dennis Camp. So there's the
Where's his doobie?
The self-insert in this is the smoke. That's all it is. So
it is. Is that Dennis Camp?
Yeah, and his wife sees him acting kind of weird outside. She looks concerned. And you would be, because of the things that he's gone through. And so he comes in and he's like...
She's not talking to you. He's a bit like my wife.
And again, though, they're going, like, not talking, but their thoughts are in the smoke. But this is the thing. I don't care. I don't care about John Johns and his wife, because I don't have a story based around anything that I care about yet. So it's not quite character work. It's just, in my mind, surface level stuff to fill a page. And so he even has this deal where all of a sudden, this memory of Special Agent Sutras, disappointed face, saying, why'd you have to go and do it, kid? And then I'm like, what? So then he says, oh, I'm going to go talk to our son. So he goes up, and we saw before that the son also saw the Martian Manhunter. I kind of got that the kid was on the spectrum, and the deal that he might be a little more sensitive to the Martian Manhunter. Maybe we're even playing an idea of where you think that John Johns is the host, and maybe he's not. Maybe it's almost like the play going Grant Morrison, but at least Animal Man,
Come
where
on, Jim.
we thought that
the Martian here.
Yeah.
Sat, making Play-Doh models.
He's making Play-Doh models.
That made me smile. I think that's maybe my favorite.
You
part
go
of the
in,
issue.
and so finally we're going to get the story, right? So he goes in, he goes, Tyler,
right.
Tyler, and then gets a call and leaves. We don't get anything.
See you later.
Yeah, he's
Sucker.
like, is he mad that he thinks Martian Manhunter shouldn't be near his son? That he might do something weird or things follow or whatever? Why isn't he asking?
He's mad that he's making Play-Doh with his son and not him.
Yeah, really. He's like, look at that. It looks like a Batman and stuff like that. He's pretty good with the Play-Doh. But again, he should end up where he should ask something, do something, because we're getting nothing. And he goes
Tyler,
out.
can you see that giant green Martian sat next to you,
like,
or is it just me?
Yeah, so he's like, is it hot in here? Is it just me? But he ends up where he gets on the phone. Jones, what? When? Okay, I'm stepping outside now. I haven't. And then all of a sudden you look up and it's the nuclear explosion look of the the immolated smoke from the whole town. So the whole town is being
white mushroom
infected.
cloud shape
And
above
it's
the town and
here,
city.
Bad idea number 1937-231. The number
That's my favorite line, Jim.
Man,
that is my favorite
bad
line.
idea number 1. This book. You end up where, oh my God. And so he's got to run downtown because the smoke ends up even having that crazy, like weird look to it. And so something bad has happened. He has to run downtown. So he goes, and I thought that
Did you
one
get like
play,
lost here with the time jumps? I wasn't sure what was going on. So we jumped from that to, it seems like, is it the next day?
I think
You've
it
got,
just
like, the
runs
buildings are
downtown
smoking,
now,
it's
but
calmed down.
it must, because it seems like
But then
it's now
we're
day.
in the buildings and the burning. It's all over the place.
Yeah. So he ends up where he goes downtown. Now people are just burning everything down. And again, the fire is one of the things going on and whatnot.
I like
so,
the Baptiste
yeah,
Haitian family bakery.
well,
Even Martian Manhunter's got a coffee.
Yeah, and free sandwiches and coffee. I'm there. Like, what the heck?
I'm
I
there
don't even
too.
care. That could be the worst thing
you,
ever.
I can see you right
Free
there,
food
Jim.
is for
You're
me. I'm
pushing
there with
that old woman out the way
I'm there
to
with the
get
bucket
something.
hat punching the person. Get out of my way, jerk. But everything's on fire, and he goes and remember the issue. It was like this. I guess it was last issue. It feels like that's the thing too. These issues take me so long. It feels like we're like at issue 6 already. But you had that scene where the people were dying from getting shot, and they're thinking in the memories and going, well, you just do this again with this lady. But quick, because we already had that. So let's do it real quick. She's thinking of her kids. Oh my God, it burns hot like a furnace. I'm like, get out of here. So you
She's
end up
appealing to him. She's looking for a bit of sympathy, Jim. And what's he doing? He's smoking. He's getting a smoke.
Yeah.
That's what
Now-
he's doing. He's having a fag. Can I say that in America?
You just did. And then you get where it was weird because he's there and you get a guy burning a house but it looks like him. But it isn't. And he's like throwing the cigarette down. Everybody with the smoke around them are setting things. Even these little kids are like, this playground sucks. Like, this is bullshit. So they're doing that. And even where Martian Manhunter there with the Martian on top of him, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I just don't get what we're getting. And somebody can, prove me wrong and tell me exactly what they think. But I just think that people end up always going on to books where because the art, and they'll probably like the art style, but this ambiguous storytelling, it reminds me a lot of like a Martian Manhunter, or not Martian Manhunter, a Mr. Miracle, where you don't know what's going on, but that makes it for some people like, that's what's good about it. It's great because I don't know what the hell is going on. Like, you do have the play, and I saw a review where they almost say that since they don't know what's going on, anything can happen. I'm like, yeah, it probably could because you don't know what's going on. The guy admits, I don't know what's happening in this book. But that's what's cool because it all goes.
Because it's random. It's so random. Random people setting random fires. Yeah. And then Martian Manhunter goes, no such thing as random. Only misunderstood.
Yeah, only misunderstood.
Dennis Camp.
Yeah, like,
trying to appeal.
He's randomly annoying, and I'm misunderstanding that he's good. But you end up where everything's on fire. Then we go to this hotel, the Sunnyside Hotel, that they did mention earlier, where they tried to get Big Al there. But this is where they bring up, they're at the Sunnyside Hotel, and they're going after the idea of home.
It's the largest homeless shelter in the city.
It's a weird, this is the idea, though. In this book, Dennis Camp starts losing the little narrative he has where he has to then calm down. This is called Sunnyside because the kids end up, you want to pretend that you're going on vacation. So we're going to a hotel, but it's actually a homeless shelter and you don't want the kids to know or whatever. Kids are smart enough. They're Dennis. They know.
Start explaining the names, of hotels, whatever, in your comic book. You've lost it. You've lost the plot.
Yeah, and he's
you shouldn't have to explain it.
No.
Jesus.
So he's there, and all these people, and even at one point, the people there.
It's night again, by the way, Jim. It's dark night. What the hell's happened with the time?
Their thoughts are going. All these people are getting around like the purge, setting things on fire. But the idea at one point, the thoughts are like, "My dad touched me," and these things. I'm like, I don't know why this book tries to just be awful. It just ends up making me feel like it's not fun. And the art style could lend to that, but I just get the idea that it's just a bunch of nonsense. But again,
it's making me want to put on Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds and listen to that because I had a lot more fun than reading this.
Yeah, that's good though.
Psychedelic, colourful people
good.
Everywhere.
Yeah, I hate to do the deal where I just don't even know what to say about this book, and it's frustrating me because I just don't think it's very good. And overall, when you cut through the bullshit, you're left with nothing. I mean, you're left with just basically, again, John Johns goes to a crime scene. He looks at some burned bodies. They end up they interrogate the people, but he sees smoke around him, but he can't report that. Goes home and his wife aren't getting along. Now all of a sudden everybody's setting the whole town on fire, and he goes and he's able to be saved once again because the Martian helps him not get burned. But by the end, I'm like, okay, what does this all mean? Because as this is going, you have a white lady come and say, hey, I have a message for the green one. The white Martian, he knows you're hiding in meat. He's going to get you. He's going to take you down. He wants you to watch. He loves an audience. Maybe you can go and peek out of the closet, you cuck, and then ends up where he's like, oh my God, and then he survives again. But we're at issue 3 to then have just the idea, what's going on with the white Martian? And the green Martian goes, it's kind of weird. He wants tragedy. And then you get this white Martian lady. Yeah, so you get this white Martian lady then and just says, he's coming. I'm like, really? Are his eyes glassy? Is that how you know? Like Bendis was coming at one point, right?
She's on fire this whole way through. When she's giving this like little speech, she's burning, and then she dies screaming as she gives this message.
Yeah,
it's like,
fun.
Jesus Christ, this is dark. This is a dark
I love it.
ending
Somebody's like, I love it because it's fun. I'm like, okay. What you should do is, the whole play in my mind is the basic premise of this, and I'm trying to get it down to the basic deal. Is get the hell out of this town. This town is a shithole. That it's York, PA. It has like nonsense. The idea that everybody in this town is setting each other on fire and stuff like that. Like, please get out of there.
I gotta get out of this place.
Really. Tragedy.
Jim, looking for positives, right? I can give you some positives, okay? This is the most original title from DC's Absolute lineup.
No.
That you got to say that. And if you like the art, I know you don't, but if you're a fan of his style, I think you'll enjoy it for the art. But there's not enough story. There's not enough character development in it.
I'll say it's quirky. Is how I'll say, but
it's quirky.
It's like,
is it a riddle wrapped in
an enigma?
I don't
know. Like it is
in someone's
it's
cigarette
an enigma
packet
wrapped in a secret. Whispered down the alley in a screw yourselves. But so all this goes on is at the end though, it has that kind of storytelling that at the end I'm not getting anything. So I'm afraid that if it's in a year from now, if somebody says, hey, did you read that Absolute Martian Manhunter? What was it about? What was it like? My question or my answer will be, well, you can't really talk distance because I'd say it was messed up. Like, I don't even know that I'd be able to articulate what was going on because you can't grab onto it. It's that almost like it's a foundation of sand. You end up where it seems cool, but what are you grabbing onto? What do you have at the end of each issue to go forward, except the idea of it's quirky, we can't get this anywhere else, and it's wacko, because that sort of storytelling, if you don't have the chops, and I don't think Dennis Camp does, it ends up falling flat. He's not Grant Morrison. He's not Alan Moore. Those guys had a knack for doing some things. And even they don't. Like, that's the thing. They don't get this wacky. Even Grant Morrison, me and you are going through a lot of Grant Morrison. We just ended up today doing Animal Man number 25, one of the best issues we've read. It's incredible.
So good.
It is wacky, but the wackiness isn't the foundation. The foundation is solid.
Though,
it might be. The solid ground is the character work, Animal Man, his family being dead, him trying to figure that out. The other stuff is on top of that, so it doesn't tumble down. This book is only about the quirky. It's only about the craziness.
In the wackiness.
And
Grant
so
Morrison,
it just
within
falls.
That,
that's...
There's humor and there's good character work. There are characters that are compelling that you start to care about, even you've only met them in one issue. The problem with this is, like, I feel like I don't know. I don't know Jones. I don't know John Jones.
Here's the
Hardly
thing.
at all.
What you end up having is the idea of Fearmarnock he says 75% of the time when I use quirky, it's not as a compliment. This is how I'll explain it, and maybe this will make sense. When Grant Morrison writes something, that's like a rich guy being eccentric. But when a Dennis Camp does the same thing, he's just being stupid. You know what I mean? Like, what I would do, I could be doing something crazy and people would just go, oh, look at that guy. He's an asshole. But a rich guy doing the same thing, oh, he's eccentric. Look at him. He's interesting. And that's how it kind of feels, the idea. But you have Fearmarnock says, read Kid Attorney Mini and say Grant doesn't get too wacky. Well, again, there's a lot of things that he does that The Green Lantern, I couldn't even read it. But one of the other things just about this is just, again, though, I don't know what we're grabbing onto. I don't know what we're going forward. And I said this week, there's a lot of books that I could say, well, we don't get anything like this. And a lot of times that's not a compliment. Sometimes you're like, it's like one of those, man, we never saw a story like this before. There's probably a reason. It's probably because somebody came up with it and thought, boy, that's stupid. But the idea of a book that we're not getting books around like a Peacemaker, the Vigilante Eagly double feature. A book that goes, but that doesn't mean it's great. I liked it. It's funny, but just the idea of when people end up telling me why this is a good story, I barely ever hear them mention the story. It's the art or the idea it's unique. Oh my God, you're not getting anything like this anywhere else. I've not had somebody say, oh my God, the story is excellent, because you know what follows that? Explain the story. And most people be like, I don't know. And that's what happens when you end up, and that's the thing that gets me with the reviews. You read these reviews, you can tell these people don't know shit on shit of what is happening. They just end up, man, it's wacky. I said the one review is, I do not know what's going on in this book after 3 issues, but boy, that gives me the idea that anything can happen. Like, then why are you giving it a 10? A 10 out of 10.
I'm scrolling through the League of Comic Book Geeks user reviews. Yeah, you wouldn't believe it. There's so many.
Well,
five,
this
five
is the
out
thing.
Of fives,
it's
5 star,
that
5
because
star,
I
5
swear
star,
to God,
star, everywhere.
If you end up having this,
are we
book,
missing something, Jim?
No, that's the problem. The idea of reviewing it, they're giving it good reviews because they're missing. They don't know what's happening. So that makes it. It's almost like the idea of. You end up where you're the minute that you open your mouth, you reveal how stupid you are. If you keep your mouth closed, people, okay. And the idea that if he does reveal the story, I think that it falls apart because there's nothing here. And he's going to...
Oh, here we go. I found an honest review. I tried to give it another try, but it's just going too slow. Not for me. There we go. Yeah. There you go. An honest review on League of Comic Book Geeks.
There you go. And what are we at? What timing is it? 32 minutes of me yelling about this book. I said, as I read it, I'm like, I'm not going to get upset. I'm just going to kind of go through it and say, well, it's not for me or whatever. And again, this is the type of book that you never win by not liking, because there's people who, when they do like it, they think they're smart as shit. They think they're Einstein over there, and they're going to end up getting angry because I don't like it. I'm not angry that they like it. I'd love it if they could explain. If somebody actually legit can sit me down like a 6-year-old and explain what's happening in this book so that I can too enjoy it and think it's a 10, I'd pay them. I would give them money, hard-earned money, because that would be great. I don't see that it's
not
there.
Even like explain the book, Jim. It's not that. It's explain why you love it so much. Yeah. What is so good about it, apart from the art, which I do like. Why? Why is this like a 10 out of 10? Tell me why.
Yeah. And I don't think they can. They
don't know.
And
no, they can't.
It's a funny thing.
It's so weird. It's different, man.
When people talk about reviews, what gets me is if you love it and give it a 10, then you could play off. Oh, it's subjective. I just like it. But if I give my score and I say it's a 3, then all of a sudden I get yelled at. What do you mean all this? Like, I'm not yelling at you to think it's a 10. I think
it's like me, Jim, trying to convince you that Daredevil, Cold Day in Hell is awesome, and you're like, I'm not sure, but it really works for me.
But
personally.
The thing
really
is, though, I like talking to you. And you usually get me ganky, and you failed.
You say that to all the girls.
You failed. You failed with this. You're not making me like it more. I thought I'm telling you, I thought that maybe that you would get my score up to at least a 2. Give me nothing. So.
It can't be that low. Come on, it's not a 1 out of 10.
Just remember, I don't like the art at all. So I'm starting off at a low deal. So the art, if you end up saying, and I don't do scores, 5 for art, 5 for story.
Javier Rodriguez is listening, Jim, and he's coming. He's hunting you down right now. He's coming for your house.
Yeah, and again, I hate to be mean, like actually sound like I'm being mean just because I don't like a book. But again, if Dennis Camp was listening, go screw yourself. This book sucks. What would you give it?
Okay, here we go, folks. People are asking me like, "Come on, great, it's got to be an FU5." It's not for me. I'm positive. For me, it's 6 out of 10, Jim. It is difficult to rate it because there's not a lot of story. It's basically, people are starting fires, and then Agent Jones and the Martian try and stop them. That's it. Yeah. But I do like the art, and I do like the fact that it's trying to do something different. The best thing for me about this issue is the building relationship between Martian Manhunter and Jones. That's it. It's like a buddy cop movie, but it's going too slow.
But what's going with it? You know what I mean? Like, if it was more, Yeah, I know. Brandon thinks.
Come on, Jim, what's your score? Come
Brandon
on.
thinks that Sammy Hagar's showing up, but I just don't. I don't think that I could even give it an FU5 just because of the idea. I hate it so much. So I'm just going to give it an FU5.
But I am Mr. Positive. What can I say? That's me, Jimmy.
I'm telling you, if I had to give a legit score, I'm probably a 3.5 is what I would be
Really?
on a legit thing.
That's
yeah,
harsh. That's
yeah.
harsh,
But again, I the art's just not for me. I don't like it, and I'm just it ends up where I get. Here's my whole thing reading through it. I'm tired. Right? I check the page count at least 10 times. There's only 20-some pages. How am I checking the page count every 2 pages? And it feels like I'm like...
it was fast.
I'm like sitting there, I'm like, 2 pages. I'm like, how is this? How does it end up where I just thought I'm done and I'm still at page 6? Ooh-wee. And then it did get extended, and we did have, I think Brandon might have said, and even, Beer Monarch, but the idea... when you go forward, I said it all along. That's the tape here. When we end up when we get to issue 7, if he does have something here, because I think this is all bullshit, just leading to a big, oh my God, you blew my mind, issue 6. What do you have after that? And I don't know. That's really going to be telling, and we're going to see if he has something there, and I'm worried.
Jim, remember issue 1? Remember that? We got told off by Simon because we didn't understand it. What's different to issue 1? It's all about the smoke in issue 3. It's the same as issue 1.
I love it. I didn't even think. I'm glad you brought up Simon. He's probably just like, he's going nuts right now, and I just don't like it. I just don't see it, and it's one of those where if I say, hey, I'm going to tell you why I don't like it, and it doesn't change each issue. It's just we're not getting enough. But
come on,
the
Jim,
idea,
you just don't understand
in
it.
3 issues, if you love it, I think that you got to start getting a grip. We're halfway through what was originally going to be the entire series. Halfway through, and it doesn't feel like we've done shit. So,
how many characters do you care about in this series?
In this? None. I think I like the kid.
That is the problem.
Tyler.
That is a problem.
But what do you know? There's no character work. There's more character work with smoke. Right? You got the smoke. There you go. Dennis Camp and the smoke.
It's all about the colors, man. You can smell the colors, Jim.
Yeah, maybe I got to be high. I'll go do that. I've never really been high in my life, but I'll do it. I know Tyler. Brandon said he knows 2 of the names. Yeah, I know 2 of the names. John's a Martian. But it's not a Martian.
Well, that's it.
Right?
I was writing my review before I reread it, yeah. And
the wife's name's Bridget.
I was calling him Frank.
Frank. The wife's name's Bridget. You have Tyler and, wackadoo detective. Frank. I remember Big Al.
Oh, Jesus.
Big Al, right?
Oh, Big Al. Went up in smoke like Cheech and Chong again.
Fear Monarch said I can get weed and food now. My sons are into that stuff. I'm just not into it.
Can you post me over some gummies?
I'm just not into that stuff.
It's really.
I'll tell you too. Really, you'll end up Paul McCartney doing.
I'll
tell you right now.
The national newspaper.
I do take Adderall. That is, I have a prescription, but it is a drug. So I do that. And I realize that the idea of weed and man, I don't need to calm down. I don't like calming down. I really don't. If I'm going to do things, I'm snorting a mound of Coke and I'll kill myself with it. I'd be dead by now if I did it because I'm that sort of thing.
Sound like Johnny Rotten, Jim. He was a big fan of the old Speed.
Oh my God, that's all. At one point,
he didn't like Coke. He preferred Speed.
I'll tell you that when I was in a band in college and we ended up playing every night and actually went and did a weekend where we played. I went to West Virginia, but we went to this dance thing at Penn State. And so we ended up having to play 3 shows in a day, and they were 3 hours long. And by the end, I ended up where
3 hours long?
Yeah,
Jesus.
3. So it was 9 hours in this day. And by the end, I was exhausted. But the one guy ended up having mini thins at that one point. So I did take way too many of those. I was wired up. But I actually like that. I like being wired up because you know why? I wouldn't take drugs to calm down. What I would do is take drugs so I can do more work. That's all it would be. It would be me wanting to edit things or me wanting to do more podcasts or me wanting to make songs or whatever. So I don't like calming down. I'm lazy enough. I don't need that stuff. But we'll move on to the next book. At least the next book's pretty good. And I'll give a shout out right away Hayden Sherman actually impressed me here, and I think that he had to step up his game after the last 2 issues of the art being so incredible. I think that he actually was like, "Okay, I have some time." Maybe that's what he needed as well. I think this looks great. I think that this is his best looking issue. It still has his style. It's not as epic or great as what we had with Deloli or whatever the person's name was, but I think it's pretty good. The only problem is that the first half I think is great. And you know what you get in the first half? A bit of character work. And I think that that's what I really want from these books right now to settle in. Yeah, you need some world building, but I really need some character work because these books really still have just started. You know, one of the things, if I'm going to pull in the Ultimate stuff with Hickman, one of the things that's got me is the idea of Ultimate Spider-Man wanting to have more character work with an older Peter Parker becoming Spider-Man, dealing with MJ and his family, and we're not getting much of Spider-Man over there. So when we end up having that Martian Manhunter, it does throw me off a bit, thinking I just want more character work. I want to know what's going on, but without knowing it, it's kind of just nowhere. But I do like this book, and I think that you get some cool things, and especially introducing yet another Wonder Woman villain and Dr. Poison, which I thought looked pretty cool. But this is Absolute Wonder Woman number 8, written by Kelly Thompson, art by Hayden Sherman, colors by Jordi Belair, letters by Becca Carey, edited by Chris Conroy, and assisted by Ash Padilla. And I will say one of the things that I am happy with is that Kelly Thompson, who has done like the Scarlet book with the G.I. Joe stuff, it wasn't good. And I think her Birds of Prey is pretty awful, but this is good. And I'm glad it's at least one book at DC that she's doing that is really, really good. And I really do like it. And I like the way that it is. And it's not exactly the fastest moving deal, especially getting back to what would be the Tetracide again in a weird way. But I actually am enjoying it because I'm getting connected to the characters, and that's something that I'm not.
The Tetracide,
well, and
your
that's
favorite
something.
villain
Yeah, the
ever.
Tetracide, the Four Killer. Eric would keep saying. But I do like the characters. I like the way that they're portrayed. I like the setup where Diana came from, her mom being Cersei, all that with the overall story of trying to find the Amazons. So that's what's missing so far. Now they just started. I mean, Martian Manhunter can pick it up, but it doesn't feel like Dennis Camp is interested in giving us character work. He's into blowing our minds. I don't think that Al Ewing's doing that great a job so far with the Green Lantern stuff. He seems to be relying on, hey, you know Hal, but we're just going to make things wacky. You know Joe, and not everybody
He's
does.
Going for horror.
And
cosmic
I think
horror.
that he's going more of just, hey, you know these characters, we're going to do opposite. Again, Superman has the problem where we don't really know much about Superman. Wonder Woman and Batman, we're getting more. And Batman's just Batman, but he's big, dumb Batman, but it's cool. But again, I think that the best book for me still is Wonder Woman. And so she ends up going, and you see her in the wilds of Gateway City. And she's going, and I thought, okay, I get what's going on, because she did say to Cersei, I'm going to end up making a temple. I'm going to end up making, and that's what she kind of does right away. She goes to do that. In the meantime, you do have Veronica Cale, who is doing some crazy things. She saw the stuff with Wonder Woman. She was very interested in the Tetracide, and she's a classic Wonder Woman villain. And that's the cool play in this, is there's Veronica Cale. She has Dr. Poison. Dr. Poison doesn't seem like she's very happy how she is. She's actually a gaseous form in like a containment suit. Kind of wants some things, and you can tell by the end that she might end up kind of, you know, maybe helping Diana because she might need help herself. But you also have Barbara Minerva, Cheetah, but she's just Barbara, and she's one of the good guys. I still think she might end up being taken over somehow, if it's by Ursa Taga or anything.
Form,
yes, she is a
gaseous form.
I have a gaseous form going right now.
Like that.
I had some spam earlier.
Me too.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
That's why I'm staying muted.
Yeah, so in that, though, you end up where Diana plays off, and it does play off. I like the idea. It plays off as a very serene, almost like a Sleeping Beauty or a Disney princess with the animals coming, and they're all going to go up and they're going to make this, while you then have Veronica Cale plotting in what is really like an awful man-made type deal in the structure. I think that was a good juxtaposition going from one to the other. And you do end up then seeing this Dr. Poison. And Dr. Poison a lot of times scarred up, or you have something. I like this. It looks very imposing, but you almost feel bad for her by the end. But I do like where they're going. Veronica comes in and like, hey, what's going on? Well, Dr. Poison yelling about that suit again. And she goes in and she's just like, this suit sucks. I can't do anything. I'm breaking the vials and things like that. Like, I can't even get the work done. And yet it's almost like Veronica Cale wants that, as if, well, we can't let her do too much. I don't know. I'm like, why aren't you getting her a better gloves? Just get her better gloves. Like, you want to get her to do things, but she's fumbling, bumbling around, and it's just kind of funny.
How is she supposed to do anything with those gloves and that crazy helmet?
Yeah, it looks like almost like a combo of the containment deal when we first saw Doomsday combined with Iron Man. And she's trying to do all this crazy shit with it. Also has that like lapel over, like she's on the Sgt. Pepper's cover. But she's there doing this like, I can't grab shit. And I just like that Veronica Cale's like, yep. That's not changing. And by the way, I know you're Dr. Poison, but I kind of want you to listen to this Tetracide recording we have. I wanted her to say, what the hell am I going to do with the recording? I'm Poison here. And now all I think is Belle Biv DeVoe, Poison. That song kicks ass. But you end up where they're going to try to figure out.
Plays her?
It's the Tetracide. It's the Tetracide's attack. So when you end up recording it, well, that's the thing. She ends up hearing it and goes nuts because it's that sound that drives you nuts. And it makes you want to attack and go to it.
Does it summon up Santa Claus?
No, it summons up Don Healy to freaking sue your ass. And you get the Eagles on you. But you end up where, again, she's like, oh, this is unexpected. We have this. So they can weaponize it. This is where I'm still enjoying this. And you end up where you have Fumble and Bumble and Dr. Poison trying to figure out, okay, I'm going to get this sound, whatever. Veronica goes out and this lady there, like an intern or whatever this lady is, like, hey, if you tell me to get that suit for Dr. Poison, I'll fire your ass. Oh, I wasn't going to say that. All right. And I'm like, just get her the suit. Why? What are these suits too expensive? Like, what is the deal? Do you want to make her fumble and bumble? This is how you keep her under lock and key. Is this? But all she's doing is getting angry. And, says, oh, Dr. Poison, you're the best. And then leaves. And Dr. Poison's like, yeah, right. So then we go back and Diana is still gathering stuff to do this temple, it seems. And it's more blood magic. It's more of the stuff. And she needs to be alone. I think that this scene kind of just sets up, again, that Barbara might be wanting to get involved too much. The idea that she's like, oh, man, this will be great. Even goes to touch that, pillar. And Diana stops her and says, don't touch it yet. I need it to be untouched by human hands. You might be able to touch it later. Again, this feels like you're going to get Barbara wandering off where she shouldn't at some point and touching things she shouldn't do. Not like the HR kind of touching things, but touching things and maybe turning into Cheetah. But you end up where Diana says, I'm going to do this ritual. You guys have to go. And you have Etta and her sister there. Steve's there. And as they go, Barbara wants to stay. She keeps saying, I want to stay. I want to stay. I want to see what's going on. This is cool. This is great. And Steve has to drag her away and then drag her away again because she wants to double back and go. And I do think that that's going to be the big thing. But it just ends up where Diana
is doing there, Jim. What does a deer want? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, it looks like it wants food. And then they shoot. And also, it does look like at a point.
Who killed Bambi?
I'm telling you, at one point, Diana might be saying, get out of here, because she's getting out all her meth shit. And she might even be doing some fentanyl and stuff like that. I see those things. So she ends up maybe she's just
slicing around.
She might just want to get high. Well, that's what happens. Maybe she's on heroin. She's itching. She's got all that shit going on, right? But you end up where she's going to make this a sacred site. And this is where she did say legit that she was going to, hey, Mom, I'm going to set up a temple for you. I'm going to set up something for you in Hecate. This is what I need to do. And that's what she does. And I thought the art was really, really cool. Now, this is where I'll
do
say.
Like it. I'm happy to see him back in this book.
And this is where I'll say the deal is, I'm not going to tell anybody that a lot happens in this issue because there's not a lot going on, right? But the basis of it is based on the character work, so I can go through this and still go forward with a good feeling. When you end up having no character work in that Martian Manhunter and you don't have much going on, you're left with nothing at all. This actually has character work, so you get I already have the pacing of this book. And when Aiden Sherman's, it's not the fastest paced thing. So I don't mind it. I actually really do enjoy it, and I like
it's not
seeing
Jim, but
Diana.
How much more story is there in this issue compared to the absolute Martian Manhunter?
It's just they're doing stuff, right? At least they're doing something. Yeah. But you end up, and I suggest if you are somebody who's like, I don't really care about these absolute books. I had somebody actually on the channel say that they were going to pick up Flash because of me and you talking about it, which is cool. I mean,
Oh, nice one.
everybody should at least try a couple issues of the books if they can afford it.
Especially if you're a fan of Wonder Woman, you should be reading this book. You should absolutely 100% reading this. It's so much better than the Tom King nonsense.
And the thing is, this is, again, where I'll try to tell people where I don't go by the things that, like, these people who say give Martian Manhunter a 10. If you say you don't like it, they get pissed. Oh man, you're just they'll start insulting you and stuff like that.
I just don't understand
but
it, man.
I'm telling everybody who's listening, if you are just listening to me lose it and go off my rocker, do yourself a favor and get a couple issues of Martian Manhunter. You may like it. You may like it way more than me. I would never give anybody guff that they would like it more. You may get something more out of it, because it really, a lot of times, you only need a little thing that might be personal to you to get something to enjoy. But yeah, they end up making this, the heroin. I told you she was scratching it up. She's on heroin. I think that's what it's called. But they go in, and they're
where's your rim shot?
They're wowed by it, right? They're all wowed by it. But again, they're like, oh man, this is crazy. And that's where Diana then hears the Tetracide again and says, oh my God, stay here. I got to get out of here. You'll be safer here. And I did like, I think it's Edo's like, so she had to leave because there's trouble, that she wouldn't be able to stop, but somehow we're safer here, though she wasn't. She's like, I don't like this. But they're like, calm down, we'll go.
Exactly how safe are we?
Yeah, and the only thing then, this is where my score goes down for this issue a bit. But we already dealt with the Tetracide. Now we're dealing with little spider mechanical drones with the Tetracide screen. I don't know that that's a great idea going forward.
I didn't get this jump.
Yeah, it's just,
we go from the heroin palace to to the city. It's like, wait, what? What happened?
She just flies
Union
over.
Square,
She
Gateway
just goes,
City now. So it's like suddenly,
she just goes off then. But you also had before was now. It's a weird play. Like, what's now and then? It's like now is just continuing the now, but you end up where she goes and people are being controlled. But it does seem like at this point, Veronica Cale's setting this up to, again, draw Wonder Woman there. It's not something that's going to kill Wonder Woman. It's just the scream. But the scream ends up making you want to follow this thing and all these things. So that's why the people are kind of mesmerized by it. And she's like, okay, I'm going to break this one. And then I'll break another. I'll just get everybody. I'll be a threat and they'll all come to me. And she's like, oh, shit, there's more than I thought. There's a ton. And they come to attack her, but it's just doing this scream, and she's yelling, oh my God, mother, give me the strength, whatever. And I thought that by the end, I need a little more than just, we're getting attacked by drones with the Tetracide. But it leads her to realize, okay, this is where it's coming from. It looks like this building that's being built where you do have Dr. Poison who's setting this up. And Dr. Poison, in the meantime, does seem sympathetic of, hey, can you help me? And so it's like that double-edged sword.
We haven't seen her face yet, Jim.
Because she doesn't have a face.
Like. I want to know.
She's
if
gas.
The lips a venomous poison.
Yeah, I'm telling you, she's gas. So there you go. But I think that the deal is that Veronica Cale thinks, okay, draw Wonder Woman out, but in the meantime, Dr. Poison maybe it's a dupe, but I do think she wants to get.
She's non-corporeal.
Yeah. And she says, and she says it. It's kind of a funny one. She says it and then says, wait, don't hit me. My name is Dr. Poison, and you're going to want to hear me out, princess. Am I? And says, I know where you can find an Amazon. But again, I think that Dr. Poison is going to be that. But first, you have to do this for me. First, you have to help me. I think it's just like, get me a new pair of gloves. These gloves suck. Like, that's all I need.
These suck.
Either get me better gloves or bigger test tubes. I need one or the other because, again, I love the idea where if your name is Dr. Poison, right? And that sounds like, wouldn't you be like, oh, my name is Dr. Poison? I would definitely change the pronunciation because Dr. Poison sounds so I'd be fancy.
There,
I would. I'm Dr. Poison. Pleased to meet you. They're like, how do you spell it? Well, it's spelled poison. I just, I don't want to end up making you hate me.
It reminds me of that old British TV series. What was it called? Her name was like Bucket, which is like, it's pronounced bouquet.
Bouquet. Yeah, exactly.
Like Mrs. Bucket.
I would do that. I wouldn't go by Dr. Poison. And I'd be like, I have a PhD in poisons or poisson. But yeah, so at the end, I did like this more. But it's quick. It was very quick. But what would you give it?
It's a quick read, and for me, it's I say there's a lot more story in it. I'm happy with Hayden Sherman back on art. I do like his style. I think I've got used to it now. Here, I prefer him on this than I do on Dark Patterns, Jim. Unbelievable, right?
Yeah. Dark Patterns fits a style too, but
let's see. I'm a 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I'm a 7-8. I almost could get to an 8, but I'm telling you, the
Go
second
on.
half really wasn't a
I want you
lot.
to be a positive,
Nah, I'm
Jim.
gonna go
You got to
7,
beat
8,
me.
but I do like it. Yeah, Doctor Poison is a classic
I
villain,
wasn't
though,
sure
so
about the
it's not
time
the
jump thing.
deal.
That's
But
the thing that kind of took me out of it. But I do like Dr. Poisson. She's pretty
yeah,
cool. I
Doctor
want more of
Poisson,
her.
look at me, Doctor Poisson,
Poisson.
Veronica Callie. Everybody's like Eda Candy. Yeah. So in that, Jed McKay does.
Wonder Woman.
Jed McKay does come up with the worst names for villains, but Dr. Poison sounds too straightforward for Jed McKay. It would be like the Poison Mist even sounds too crazy. It'd be like the Poison Nebula. It'd be some great, stupid shit like that. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I still like it. I think that the art's really good. It's just you have to go. And what I'll ask you too, did it feel like this book? I see what is supposed to be the sales, and it looks like it's doing well, right? I mean, when you
Yeah.
do look at that,
Yeah.
why does it seem like this issue is really spelled out to be, hey, everybody, please read the book? I mean, you have on the cover, new story arc starts. You have a recap page, a whole page. This is the story so
Yeah,
far.
that's a big
And
recap,
that
isn't it?
seems
Yeah.
like it's one of those where it's like, hey, not many people are reading it, but it seems like they are. But they want to get more people to jump on, really
I don't know, what
stressing
is
that
it,
you could
issue
jump
8,
on
Jim?
this.
It
Yeah.
reminds me, yeah, back in the day when, before Sandman got really popular, I think they did the same thing. It was
No,
around
you
issue
would.
8. They had a huge recap,
You would
like
have a
okay,
recap. You would
new
start a
readers
new
jump
arc.
on here.
Yeah, and that's what it felt
Nothing
like.
wrong with that.
No, there isn't. It just it kind of threw me in the idea that I thought, man, everything I see looks like it's doing really, really well. So it felt like that's one of those things they do when it's not doing so well. So hopefully it is doing well because I do like it. But yeah, it was kind of crazy. But yeah, that's
Jim,
the
more
deal.
positive than Grey. Can't believe it. I'm just putting it in the chat.
Yeah, you got the
Wow.
7.5 and I'm a
What
7.8.
dimension are we in,
I
Jim?
have to end up, well, we're in the Dr. Poison dimension, I guess. I don't know. But that's it. That is it for the show. A quick, almost hour. But in the meantime, we are going to be getting out of here, even in the live chat, because of us going off. We have to do some stuff for the regular DC podcast. We're going to end up reviewing
do.
Flash, and I'm going
Also,
to be.
I've got to go
I'm gonna
do
be-
some jujitsu.
I'm going to be
later as
yelling.
well,
I'm going to
Jim.
be yelling again in the deal, so we're going to end up going to do that.
I got a
but-
call off me sensei, and he's like, basically, I have to go
Oh,
today.
geez.
I've got no choice.
So we're gonna have to do things
I'll be
quick.
going later.
Okay, so with
No, we're good.
that,
We're good. We're fine. We're fine.
yeah, I'm telling you, last week was FU5 week. I just, I might have hit it a couple times. The books this week, I really like. I'll just tell you. I mean, and if you want to listen to our podcast, great. We'll be on it. We'll be talking Flash, but we're also talking Batman, Peacemaker, that book, Green Lantern. I do with Gabe. Me and Brad did Green Arrow and Superman, and I did really
Superman.
I really
Cool.
like Green Lantern, and I did like Green Arrow a bit. But again, there's some books that aren't really hitting as much as they were before. But Superman.
It's not a massive week, is it, for
Yeah.
DC? It's okay for the absolute books. At least we've got Wonder Woman. But yeah, Martian Manhunter was it was a disappointment.
Yeah,
for me.
and in the regular deal, like I like Joshua Williamson's Superman, but I just don't get the idea of like Lex being the target of all this hate for him just solving problems. I mean, it's just crazy. I think it's all pushed. Some things are very forced, but if you aren't reading Superman or haven't read it this week, you're missing out on more Marilyn Moonlight at the end. I mean, Joshua Williamson just throws things out there. It's like he's got to settle down a bit himself. But we're going to get out of here. So we're going to play your song to get out
Jim,
of here.
I've not listened to it yet, by the way, but just to shout out the Spotlight. What did you review this week on the Spotlight?
The Spotlight on our
Weird
Patreon.
Science.
If you want to go to
Yeah.
the Patreon, patreon.com/Weird Science. We ended up talking Metamorpho, the series finale. And then what was the other nonsense book that we
Mr.
did?
Terrific, year
Mr.
one.
Terrific,
issue
year
one.
one. Yeah, which
I've still not read that. I'm behind.
it's not bad. It's not good. It's weird. It's well, I think it's written well
It looks
enough.
pretty interesting. It looked
But
pretty
it's
good.
boring and I
Yeah.
don't like the art. But it just felt like a weird book. Like, why are we getting this? It felt weird. But I think that some people will like it. But I think it's one of those. I got the vibe of when you're done reading it, you'll just forget about it. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I might be wrong. I've been wrong occasionally. I'm telling you,
You
this is the
wrong?
thing. There'll be
it.
people so mad at me, and then they'll come back after issue 8 of this absolute Martian Manhunter saying, "Oh, I should have listened to you 5 issues ago." I just wasted all this time, so we'll see. We will see. Brandon wants the somebody stop the wall play out. We are going to play out with actually great AI. We might play. I'll play the stop the wall on one of the things. And I did not have any live streams after Absolute Deal last week. I ended up having a bunch of troubles, and there was things going. But I will be coming back to do most of those this
take
week.
A week off, Jim.
Yeah, it was a holiday deal, but I also end up where if you are interested in some sus songs, I do have a sus records dance party on Saturdays, which seems to be getting popular. I was all excited, so I'll be doing that. Debuting like 5 new songs, so that'll be pretty cool for people who like that. But that is it. So thanks, everybody. Thanks, Gray, for joining me as usual, and we'll talk to you all later.
「感動して感謝しました本当に大好きです」「私は普通の男ではありません」「私はもう本性の愛です」「私にからかわないでください」「そうしないとあなたは消えてしまいます」「私は普通の男です」「でも私はあなたを殺します」「だからそのまま受け取ってください」足元に注意した方がいいよ準備をしてくださいフォローしないと大変なことになりますよ私に中途はララララ私はあなたを殺します私は日本の愛ですあなたは警告されました
Something to be afraid of, but everyone should know what our heroes are made of. But after night terrorists and beasts will come and gone, everyone's afraid of both the brains and the brawn. It's all part of her plan. Yeah, Amanda Waller is the man. She's going for absolute power. Yeah, she wants it all. She's going for absolute power. Oh, she's heading for a fall. She's going for absolute power. Somebody stop the wow. Well, it doesn't look good on Earth or out in space. She's got a brainiac queen and a robot failsafe. Better not forget she has her suicide squad. She has brain bombs attached so they don't wander off. It's all part of her plan.